define the Soviet Union, the massive north country of Eurasia. This land is ruled by a communist government whose main symbols are in the great red square of Moscow. This film is less a study of communism than a sketch of the land, with occasional glimpses of it before communist control. A sketch of the people and the traditions that influence them. A sketch of the changing patterns of the ways people live here. And a glance at the culture that has been built here. All of the footage in the film was shot by American photographers. None of the action was staged. The Soviet Union is actually a little larger than all of the continent of North America. A range of hills called the Ural Mountains cuts down the middle. High mountains border part of the nation. Within these mountains sprawls the vast Eurasian plain. This plain dominates the country. It stretches out seemingly without limits. Much of it is covered with forests. Other parts are grassland. Some is desert. 2/3 of the Soviet Union, an area equal to the United States and Canada, is plain. Through the centuries, invading armies have swept across the plain. From the Scandinavian peninsula, from Asia came the Mongol invasion. From Asia Minor came the Mohammedans, and others through the centuries have left their marks on the people of the plain. They have come to expect war. Most observers agree these people of the plain want peace, but their fear of invasion makes them quick to believe foreign powers threaten them. Rivers are among the few landmarks on the vast plain. Thousands of miles of rivers are navigable during summer months. Along them, trade routes developed and cities grew. Stalingrad, Kiev, Moscow, Leningrad, and many more. All of these rivers flow slowly. Some rivers flow south, some north, and with the Siberian rivers, they form a massive network. But in spite of great rivers, this landlocked nation has no good seaports that are ice-free all year. To understand this, we need to remember how far north the Soviet Union is. Our Great Lakes are only a little north of the Black and Caspian Seas. The center of Hudson Bay is about the same latitude as Moscow. Leningrad is about the same distance from the North Pole as Anchorage, Alaska. This is a Northland. Some of it is under ice and snow virtually all year. This is called the tundra. South of that is a great forest belt. South of that is grassland or steppes. And south of that is desert. These are the four main zones of the plain. In small areas, the climate is Mediterranean or even subtropical. With these few exceptions, winter is the dominating season. On much of the plain, it lasts 7 months. Temperatures drop to from 30 to 50 degrees below zero or colder. These scenes of the tundra were taken nearly a half a century ago. They show us a people of one of the Asiatic races of Russia who had learned to live in the extreme of this northern land, trapping furs and raising reindeer and enjoying themselves. Even so long ago, ships called icebreakers were used to keep harbors and rivers open as long as possible during the winter months. The black and white scenes in this film show us something of the country before the Communist Revolution. Of the plain, about 5% is good farmland, and growing enough to feed the people has always been a problem. Through the centuries, more and more land has been cleared for farming. When these scenes were taken, nearly 80% of the people were living off the land in some form of agriculture. In these scenes, we can see some of the reasons historians say the Russian people traditionally have put much trust in group efforts. Clearing more land, draining more swamps, and otherwise trying to increase the farmland has continued until today. Though the farmland has been increasing, the number of persons on farms has been decreasing rapidly. The traditionally small farms of the peasants were seized and put with neighboring fields into one big farm called a collective. Nearby buildings were made into stations to house big farm machines. At these stations, farm supervisors were placed to maintain the machines and through the machines to control farming. With machines, fewer persons were needed to do the work. To increase effort, each person is paid a share of the farm's profits according to the hours put in. The agriculture of the plain has improved. This change was planned under the Tsars, but was forced on the people by the communist government. Today, the collective farm is a little like a rural village. About 100 families live on a collective. Each big farm has a store or two where essentials can be purchased. And there is a school, which may also be used as a clubhouse for meetings and some recreation. Homes in the rural areas are generally poor. Many are log cabins, particularly in the forest belt. Though almost all of the homes are small, many have electricity, and some have television. It is well to remember that all of this region was destroyed during the war. The people think of these shacks as temporary. For all living on the plain has been and is changing rapidly. Key to the change is the rapid industrialization of the nation. These pictorial graphs represent records of achievements and goals for the future. They record and forecast an industrial revolution. In the building industry, we can see one aspect of the change. Since before communism, great log rafts floated down the rivers to sawmills. Even then, this industry was beginning to use machines and power. Machine saws were used to cut the logs into boards. True, the boards were loaded by hand onto a cart to be pulled away by horse to the stacks. Still, industrialization was in its beginnings. Labor was plentiful and cheap. Portable gasoline saws were used to cut timber into logs for cabins and firewood. From such beginnings, in a few decades, industrialization has revolutionized building all over the plain. The builders are not hampered by labor unions, building codes, and the like, and are able to use any methods likely to produce results. So, big machines have been used to try many prefabrication methods of building. The massiveness of the building projects in this country is hard to imagine. Buildings to replace those destroyed by war and to house more adequately an ill-housed nation are thrown up with amazing speed all over the nation. Whole cities have been built, while others have been literally rebuilt. Soon, because of extreme climate, poor materials and workmanship, much will have to be redone. You have only to visit a Soviet city to realize how industrial the nation has become. Most of the people are in industrial work today. This is now an urban, industrial country. The city workers depend on public transportation of all kinds. Almost no one drives to work. fact, the automobile does not have much place as yet in the Soviet scene. This is a typical service station on the edge of the city. It shows how little gasoline and service the people of the plain need for their automobile travel. Their highways are not extensive, and the highways themselves are not built for heavy traffic. Transportation on the plain has been built around, first, boats on rivers and canals. Some of the canals are virtually inland seas. This one joins the Don and Volga rivers, running almost 400 miles across the plain. Second, the transportation system includes railroads, very extensive ones, for they join parts of the plain not accessible by water. And for fast transportation, the Soviets have developed air travel. These are the kinds of transportation that fit the industrialization plans of the government. Here, as elsewhere, industrialization has brought the problem of how to care for children, especially when both parents work. In activities, the children of the plain have about the same interests as children everywhere. Toys are sold, but the most common ones are smaller and less expensive than in America. In rural areas, when both parents work, children often take care of themselves when not in school. Even in the cities, some children learn to watch out for themselves when very young. But special camps called pioneer camps provide supervised play for most children. Pioneer camps take girls and boys from 8 to 13 years. These camps provide recreational facilities and an opportunity to learn through play about such things as boats, airplanes, and the like. Health is also stressed. Each child has a physical examination monthly until 14 years old. In the pioneer movement, all are educated in communism. Pioneer groups go on field trips, visiting many places of interest, such as the big universities where some may attend school. A sketch of the Soviet Union must include the cultural heritage of this country. About this land wrote such men as Tolstoy, Dostoevsky, and Chekhov. In fact, in nearly every field, this land has produced great art and great artists. The people of the plain love beauty and express it in many ways. Flowers are a part of their daily lives. They are given on every conceivable occasion. They are brought to school, given to visitors, and presented to officials. Another aspect of this love of beauty is the folk arts. Among the peasants, music and informal dancing have become a widespread folk art. At another level is the more formal art, epitomized by the Bolshoi Theater. From Tsarist days, the performances at this theater have been among the truly great in the world. From Tsarist days also, many beautiful palaces and grounds remain. Some are parks. Some are museums. Some are office buildings, but their beauty remains. In contrast is the new modern design used in this Moscow skyscraper, a design much copied throughout the Soviet Union. A rich thread of cultural heritage comes from the Russian Church. About 1,000 years ago, Christianity came to Kiev. It grew and became a distinct faith. Moscow became the head of the church after the Mongol invasions. And the faith grew in power and wealth through centuries of favor from the Tsars. But the faith also became part of the lives of virtually all of the people. These pre-revolution scenes give us some idea of the hold the faith had on the people of the plains. Today, the wealth and power of the church have gone. All the property belongs to the state. Many church buildings have been taken over, turned into museums, or simply left to ruin. For the state officially scorns religion. But faith does not always need buildings, as the people of the plain have shown through Mongol occupation and Mohammedan conquest. There is a remarkable stubbornness about these people, a willingness to suffer against adversity and then to struggle on again. Despite the destruction of invasions and the tyrannies of single-minded, inflexible governments, and without the personal rights and liberties we hold dear, these people have built a remarkable culture. These people of the massive, landlocked North Country of Europe and Asia.